Elias carried a constant internal tally, logging every conversation. Every glance from a coworker or neighbor was logged and analyzed. He spent hours dissecting fleeting interactions, convinced a misplaced word could unravel his professional standing or social acceptance. He lived with a low hum of worry, always anticipating disapproval. This undercurrent made him cautious, hesitant to offer an unsolicited opinion, or even laugh too loudly. His peace depended on silent consensus. But that consensus was an invisible, unknowable force. It left him feeling perpetually exposed, his sense of self fragile. What if this pervasive anxiety wasn't an inherent flaw? Elias genuinely believed careful management of external perception was key to his well-being. If people thought well of him, he'd be secure. He poured immense mental energy into predicting reactions, trying to preempt any negative thought. This effort was exhausting, a constant drain. Yet, despite his vigilance, the worry never truly faded. Each new interaction presented a fresh opportunity for perceived failure. He found himself trapped in a loop. More effort led to more analysis, which only intensified the anxiety. The harder he tried to control others' thoughts, the more uncontrolled his own internal state became. He was focused outward, constantly scanning the horizon for signs of approval or disapproval. He assumed these external signals were direct reflections of his worth. This unspoken belief bound his inner state to something entirely beyond his reach. The strain began to show. Elias started avoiding social gatherings, not because he disliked people, but because the mental labor of managing impressions was too high. He hesitated to pitch ideas at work, even when he knew they were strong, fearing a critical reception more than he desired success. Sleep became elusive, his mind replaying hypothetical scenarios where he'd faltered. He felt a dull ache of dissatisfaction, a sense that his life was being lived on someone else's terms. He was playing a role, constantly adapting, but for an audience he couldn't see. He found himself growing resentful of the very people whose good opinion he craved. The exhaustion was slowly eclipsing the faint hope that one day he would finally earn enough approval to feel genuinely at peace. The question lingered. Why did this constant striving feel so empty? One evening, lost in another cycle of overthinking, a clear thought cut through the noise. He was giving away his most valuable possession. He realized he was trying to solve an unsolvable problem. He possessed no remote control for someone else's mind. He then began to scrutinize the source of the judgments he feared. Were they individuals whose wisdom he admired, whose lives he wanted to emulate? More often than not, the answer was no. He was seeking validation from people he didn't even respect. It was a profound reframe. An opinion only carried weight if he chose to grant it. Its power to hurt him was not inherent to the comment itself, but entirely dependent on his agreement with it and his willingness to let it define his self-worth. This new understanding wasn't a sudden fix, but it provided a new direction. Elias began a quiet internal practice. Instead of guessing what others thought, he started defining what he thought. He consciously articulated his own standards for integrity, effort, and kindness. When a difficult conversation arose or he received a curt email, his old instinct to analyze and worry flared. But now he had a new step. He would pause and ask himself, did I act with integrity? Did I give my best effort? Was I kind? If his answer was yes, the external noise began to recede. The opinion of others became data points, not verdicts. He started small, letting a comment from a difficult neighbor pass without dissecting it, then choosing to present an idea at a meeting, focusing solely on the quality of his work, not the faces in the room. This wasn't about ignoring feedback, but about filtering it through his own newly established internal measure. The misunderstanding had been fundamental. Elias believed he needed to earn external approval to feel secure. He believed his happiness was located in the fluctuating opinions of others. In reality, he was constantly sacrificing his internal peace in a futile attempt to manipulate something uncontrollable. By shifting his focus inward, by defining his own standards, he stopped trying to control the uncontrollable. He wasn't suddenly immune to criticism, but its sting lost its debilitating power. The heavy weight he'd carried for years lifted, not because the world changed, but because he redefined what held true weight. His quiet, steady confidence wasn't born from external praise, but from a consistent alignment with his own values. He had retrieved the happiness he unknowingly handed away, realizing it was never truly dependent on anyone else. The endless loops of replaying interactions, the constant second-guessing, began to dissolve. Elias no longer spent his energy constructing a self for others, but in building a self he genuinely respected. He moved through his days with an unfamiliar mental freedom,
less burdened by perceived judgments. He learned that true stability came not from a flawless external reputation, but from an unwavering internal compass. It was a profound shift, yet it fundamentally changed his experience of daily life. If this was the real reason we give so much power away, what else are we misreading about our anxieties? Thank you for joining us on this journey. We're exploring the hidden mechanics of human experience. Tell us what problems you'd like us to explore next. A Reflection AI is coming soon to dive deeper with you. Until then, stay curious and trust your inner compass. This is just the beginning. More stories await, continuously uncovering insights for a more grounded life. Join our community for deeper understanding and lasting peace. Your journey continues with new perspective.